is one mistake. And right, this is the battle for the lead in the AMS. So John Sawbridge to the inside, the number 89 car of Klaus Zibranson in the black and green machine, and here comes the battle for P3 in the AMS as well, which is between Fabian Volvend and Chris Froggatt. Chris Froggatt returning from that drive-through penalty. Tell you what, knowing how Chris Froggatt can drive, if he could find his way past Fabian Volvend, it may not end at P3, you know, for Chris Froggatt. Froggatt trying to find a gap there, but the door is firmly closed by Fabian Volvend. Under braking then, Froggatt then. If he does this, this will be a really good overtake. Didn't think he would be able to, not able to carry enough speed through that section at Les Combes. So, Sawbridge, Zibranson, Volvend and Froggatt, a four-way fight for the lead in the AMS, which is currently with John Sawbridge. The incident between cars 45 and 15, which was Christian Overgaard and the number 15 car of Thomas Loflad, is going to be investigated after the race. So John Sawbridge then, P1 in the AMS. P2 in the AMS is Klaus Zibranson. Then it is Fabian Volvend and Chris Froggatt. And here comes Bjorn Grossman again. He's found a second wind in the closing stages of this race to try and wrestle the lead away from Florian Merckx. So as close as Bjorn Grossman has ever been to Florian Merckx now as they head towards turn number one. Niklas Nielsen is just waiting like a viper to pounce as well. Florian Merckx tight inside at the source turn one. And here comes Grossman trying to get a toe off the back of the number 88 car. So as they head through Eau Rouge, then the cars climb uphill. This, the 1, 2, 3 in the pro class. Can Bjorn Grossman find it now to pull himself alongside the Florian Merckx car? So here comes Bjorn Grossman side by side. Florian Merckx defending hard but fair. So Bjorn he's in this awful position where he's having to attack, but he's also having to think about defending because Niklas Nielsen is there just waiting to pounce if these should come together. So Grossman then, the back end of his car stepping out, as is so familiar with the way that Bjorn Grossman drives, which is thoroughly entertaining. I would argue that it's not always the quickest way, but his results would tend to suggest that I'm wrong. He very nearly overdrives the car, but he's right on the edge between taking the maximum out of it without going over the limit. So Florian Merckx, who's defended and defended and defended, and Niklas Nielsen, who's just kind of sat there waiting for something to go wrong with the two cars ahead of him that he might be able to take advantage of, because on race pace I don't think it's there in the car for him. So Florian Merckx then, with 3.5 minutes remaining in this race, and Chris Froggatt is still behind Fabian Volvend. Klaus Zibranson has got a bit closer to John Sawbridge now. This would be fantastic for John Sawbridge to take his maiden win in class here at Spa. So here comes Bjorn Grossman now, side by side, once again with Florian Merckx. It's through the bus stop where you have to start to set up an overtake manoeuvre. Florian Merckx runs him wide as he dares. The fight is fair and respectful between the two of them, but that has really compromised probably Bjorn Grossman's attempt going up to Les Combes now. They've probably got this lap and one more. So the remainder of this lap and one more for Bjorn Grossman to try and find a way past the number 88 car of Florian Merckx. He's been unable to do so fairly. Here comes Niklas Nielsen on Björn Grossman. Grossman having to defend. Looks like there's damage on the Fabian Volvend car. So how did Fabian Volvend get ahead of John Sawbridge, Klaus Sebranson, and Chris Froggatt goes around the outside of all of them? It's a disaster for Fabian Volvend, but how did she end up ahead of all of them? Must have been at the bus stop, must have shortcutted that completely. So all of a sudden the shape of this has changed now because, unbelievably, and I do mean unbelievably, despite a drive-through penalty, Chris Froggatt is in P2. Now there is the really rather damaged Fabian Volvend car. Here it is. Well, no, in fairness, was it both John Sawbridge missed his braking point for the bus stop. That allowed Klaus Sebranson alongside. Doesn't look like there was any contact between the two of them here, but Fabian Volvend spotted the opportunity to be up ahead and then closed the door on John Sawbridge, who was on the inside line. He was more than halfway alongside the car, I think. Oh, there's so much going on, and here comes Björn Grossman on Florian Merckx. If he goes all the way around the outside here, but he's squeezed out by Florian Merckx. So Grossman is going every single way he can to try and get by Florian Merckx. They're going to have one more lap. Niklas Nielsen also trying to take advantage too. Oh, and look at the tension in the Octane 126 garage. Now here comes the young Dane, the Formula Racing Niklas Nielsen. Has Grossman got a problem with his car? I have a feeling he has. It's not handling as well as it once was. Has he got a slowly deflating tyre? Has Björn Grossman got an issue with the car? No, the pace now seems to be back together again. Just looked very unstable going through the Source turn. So Florian Merckx, who is still leading this race, and I really rather think the best opportunity that Björn Grossman has had to get past has gone. In the meantime, what I was saying about unbelievably is that Chris Froggatt could end up winning the AM class if he can get past John Sawbridge. However, let's focus on this battle in the pros, because once again Grossman has got right onto the back of Florian Merckx. Niklas Nielsen is just waiting. Look at Florian Merckx drift in the car around that turn. Beg your pardon, Björn Grossman drift in that car around the turn. In so doing, of course, he's making it a bit wider, which is making it ever harder for Niklas Nielsen to try and make an impression. So here they come then for the final time of asking. Florian Merckx then, Björn Grossman and Niklas Nielsen. The 1, 2, 3 in the pros. And I think that probably Florian Merckx has done enough here. However, don't bet against it. Grossman finding something from somewhere. I think he's having to really think about his protecting his P2 place. So as they head for the final time towards the chicane, Florian Merckx, Björn Grossman, Niklas Nielsen, and Björn is just too far back now to be able to do anything about the Florian Merckx car ahead. But here comes Niklas Nielsen to try and wrestle away that P2 place, but it's not to be, as the Belgian Florian Merckx wins in Belgium here at Spa-Francorchamps. Philip Barron on the pit wall to congratulate his driver, who has taken the win. And is John Sawbridge going to keep Chris Froggatt behind him? I think he is, because John Sawbridge is far enough ahead. Surely. Here comes Chris Froggatt, though. Before they get to the bus stop, of course, he's got Klaus Sebranson right behind him. John Sawbridge brakes for the bus stop turn. Chris Froggatt tries to go to the outside and then to the inside. It'll be a drag race to the line. And I tell you what, it's going to be a photo finish. Froggatt has done it. Froggatt surely was just ahead by 2-1.